Education, from early grades through middle, high school, and college, enables students to store important information in long-term memory so they can recall that information when they need it to make decisions and to understand the world around them. Teachers provide the knowledge students need to succeed in the future, but only if they can recall what they learned and know how to use it. The best way to assure that your students are learning what you are teaching is with retrieval practice. Learning scientists have described retrieval practice as the most important learning strategy you are not using. Why aren't you using it? Perhaps it's because traditional methods of instruction focus on teacher behaviors and not enough on what students can actually remember. If we spend most of our time getting the knowledge in and very little time asking students to get the knowledge back out, they may not recall what they've learned when they need it. To better understand the value of retrieval practice, let's take a closer look at how the brain learns. Working memory is what we are thinking about at the moment. Learning happens when students move important course content knowledge from working to long-term memory. Working memory is limited. After about 10 minutes of classroom instruction or watching a video, content is lost from working memory to make room for more information. When we ask students to recall information from working memory, it takes effort to retrieve and organize that information, which helps the brain encode and store the information in long-term memory. To keep new learning accessible in long-term memory, our students need retrieval practice. Retrieval brings the information back to working memory where students can think about it or do something with it. In the absence of retrieval practice, the neural pathway to important information in the brain fades, and students can't find the information they need when they need it. Retrieval practice does three things. It helps move course content from working memory to long-term memory. It helps us recall information from long-term memory when we need it, and it provides feedback about how well students have learned the content for both the students and the teacher. Feedback is important. The best time for students and teachers to find out if students are grasping course content is as a part of daily instruction. If students struggle during retrieval practice, that's a red flag for them and us that they have not mastered the content. Certain middle and high school courses naturally lend themselves to retrieving and applying content knowledge. Theater students learn their lines. Math students solve math problems. Art students paint pictures. However, the regular use of retrieval practice is not a natural part of every subject we teach. In the traditional knowledge-focused classroom, we spend most of our time getting the information in and almost no time asking students to get the information back out. That's what we need to change. You might be thinking that retrieval practice is nothing new, and that's true. And you're probably doing some retrieval practice in your classroom already. But what the research shows is that only 16% of teachers regularly use retrieval practice every day to improve student achievement, and that's not enough. How should you be using retrieval practice? After 10 minutes of instruction, pause and spend a few minutes asking students to recall what they just learned. It could be as simple as asking students to write down everything you just talked about from memory, or maybe it's a short, non-graded quiz. Another option is a complex question that asks students a what if or why question. All three of those strategies ask students to retrieve content from working memory before it fades away. Retrieval practice from long-term memory can take on many forms. The start of class is a great time to ask students to retrieve prior learning. That can be as simple as asking students to write down everything they learned in class the day before, or giving a short quiz on yesterday's lesson. Content-aligned games and puzzles also work for retrieval practice from long-term memory. Adding retrieval practice as part of your daily classroom instruction may seem like extra work, but the learning benefits will be clear and measurable. There's a difference between reviewing course content and asking students to retrieve course content. The long-term learning benefits of incorporating retrieval practice in your daily lesson plans will assure your students can recall more of the wonderful and important things they learned in your classroom.